Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to look at one of the hands-ons for today. So before we get on to it, firstly we will see what is, I mean, how to create a particular project, and then we will be doing this hands-on on the project. And end of the project, we'll be deleting that particular project which we have created. Now, this is as we are doing this for the first time. There are a lot of explanation I may need to do while we go forward with this. But do remember that this is going to be the first hands-on towards OpenShift. So we will be doing this hands-on from the console. All right, let's go ahead with it. Well, firstly, we will be looking at something called a topology. Now, topology basically gives you the ways and different objects which you have on this particular project and how it all communicates together. Now, as I told you before, we normally create projects for a simple application. Like, for example, if you're working for a bank, the bank will have different types of application, like financial application, loan application, retail applications. Likewise, you have so many applications in a bank, right? So let's take for a example that we are going to work with a loan application, and this loan application will have multiple environments, at least four environments they will have, like development, testing, UAT, stage, production. Likewise, you're going to have multiple environments, and you can create project for each of these environment. For example, bank loan dev. So this will easily define this as like your bank name, your loan is the application, and dev is basically a development environment. So this is how you need to define the project as. Once you have created such a project, then you will have a project name. So by default, you will end up in the default project. So to create a new project, you have the option of creating a project right underneath it. So click on a project and create it as bank dev or loan dev. So it has like your bank name, or if you want to ignore the bank name, you can just take it as like your application and as well as your development. So display name is like you can give any display name like loan dev env. So this will say that this is a dev environment. So description you can give, this is a loan application and this is on development env. So this way you can get to know a lot of details about this project. It's all highly recommended that you give specific details for your project. Now, what you can do on topology is like you can quick build an application. So I'm going to give you an example of quick building an application and browsing that application. We're not going to complicate ourselves with installing HTTPS. We're going to keep it as simple as we can, where we will be giving a specific application HTTP service. We're going to host a HTTP service with a sample, and we can deploy that application using git page. So yes, you can also deploy applications which is on the git. So to populate something like you have your own git on your infrastructure, the developers are uploading code on that GitHub page. So all you have to do is like mix that GitHub page with an image already, pre-built image or an image which you already have, and then you can build your own page. So I'm just going to give that example over here. So now we are on the loan dev project. You can see that the loan dev project is selected, and here you're seeing all applications under this particular project. You can click on start building your application. So this will give you a project which is pre-existing. So some default projects are pre-existing with images loaded on it automatically. So all we're going to do is like we're going to make use of these templates and we're going to create an image. And based on that image, we can also give a GitHub URL where the logic or the deployment files exist. And then we can go ahead with that deployment. So for example, when I type HTTP over here, you get like a lot of examples over here. When I type HTTPD, you can see Apache HTTPD is coming into picture. Now you have three options here. Either you can go for a template which is designed to run Apache HTTP server, and then you can go for a builder image where you can define your content, but then it comes with its own image. And then you have the HTTPD builder image plus a sample for it to work. So if you kind of go with this one, if you just click on create, you can see that these are the images available, and you selected the latest version, or you can just select the latest version of it, which is 2.4. And here by default is selected EL8, Enterprise Linux 8. And here the URL you need to paste. So if you have a URL where your examples are stored, you can just try that. And then you can also try a sample over here. So this is basically a sample which is been taken from one of the GitHub pages. So this is a default sample. And then you have the GitHub options over here if you want to fine tune your GitHub with as a secret name, which has like a password or something. So we can also give that, but we don't have any password. This is an open GitHub page over here. And then here you have, you define the application name, the name of the component, which is your associated resources, and build configuration. So you want to build a configuration. And then if you have any advanced option for building, so you can also give that over here. And then what type of resource you're doing a deployment, not a deployment config. And then the port number targeting is 8080. So we can give a port number of a target like 80 or 8080, whatever it is. Now create route is going to create and expose a public URL as you are doing this. And you can see that if you want to manage advanced access related information like health check, scaling, resource limit, you can click on this and it will basically show you that. You also have the advanced routing information as well. If you have a public domain name, you can also give that over here. Now click on create. So this will automatically create a resource over here, and you can see that that resource is created here. So when you click on this, you'll be able to see what is happening. So it's waiting for building. You can see that show waiting pods on error. So this detail is going to tell you about what scaling it is on. So only one scale it is on. So you're going to get one instance. So it is basically scaling to one, and the deployment has successfully completed. You can see that there was no issue while deploying. If there's any issue, you're going to get a pop-up box here, and you will have this option of view logs, where you can view the logs for the pod. And as of now, there's no exception. You can see that the image has been successfully pushed from image registry for OpenShift. So it's a local repository. It has pushed the image. So yeah, there was no issue. So the topology for this one works fine. So now you can see that it's running. Now, how do you access it? Now you have a URL over here. So this is part of your route. So this is not a simple event. It's basically two, three items are coming together. I'll tell you about that. So in terms of observe, you can actually check the CPU utilization memory. So that data points will be coming very soon, but it's not enabled right now. It will be populating as just we have created the instance. You have the action of you know um, pausing the rollout or restarting the rollout or adding storage, editing deployments. Likewise, you have all the options over here, or editing the number of pods. All those things are also here over here. So like for any kind of updates on the existing topology, you can give it. But as we have used template to do that, there were a lot of activity which happened on the back end, which we didn't see it, but it did happen. For example, a pod is created. There are a couple of pods created, one for the build, one for the actual service to be running. So you can see that HTTPDX service is created over here and about a minute ago, and the memory consumption of this service is also written over here. Now for this service, there must be a deployment. So you can see that when you go to deploy, you see that HTTPX. So your project wouldn't change. Sorry, it will remain the same. You can see that the project, wherever you go, will remain the same. So all those resources to that project will all appear over here. So that's the deployment here. When you click on the deployment, you can actually understand a little more detail about the deployment. Sorry about the background noise. I couldn't control it. So here you have all the details about your deployment. We need to understand a lot about deployment, so there's a lot of configurations over here, which we will do later point of time when we go forward with this. But basically, when we created the topology application, so it all created pods, deployment, and then it also created the network, the service, and the route. So this is the service, the HTTP service, and within that you have it's pulling out data on port number 8080 and 88443. So these two port numbers are being pulled from that server, from that pod. So you can see the pod, which is referred to as this HTTPX pod. And then when you go to the route, you can see that the route is getting data from your service. So you can see the service name as HTTPD service and the location as a URL of your website. So this is a route exporting your URL. It's egressing the URL, to be very precise. So over here, when you click on this, you can actually see the URL here. Now, when you open this URL, let's first understand this URL. So let's just open this URL. So this URL comes with HTTPDEX, that's the name of your service, loan dev, which is name of your project, and then app.venky.gcp beyondcloud.online. So this is basically your domain name which you brought, and then GCP beyondcloud.online is a domain you built. Venky is the name of the your cluster, and app dot says like it's an application side of things, and then your project name and your application name. When you hit the enter, you're gonna get this warning, so you just proceed with that warning, and then you can see that welcome to your static HTTPD application on OpenShift. Deploying code changes to change this code, deploy and update the the image. So basically, which means that you need to modify the GitHub page with any information, and then basically it gets modified over there. So this is pretty much how we need to do that. Now to delete this, it's very simple to delete this. So you can just go click on this and then say delete application. So this is going to delete this application. So we just have to type httpdx app and click on delete. So this should delete the application. So that's gone. And then you can delete the entire thing by going to home projects and then request by me, and then select that and click on delete project and type loan-dev and have that deleted, so the complete project have that removed, so that we can proceed to the next next hands-on session. So I hope that you understood some details about, I mean, we didn't talk a lot of details, but then we just showed you how to create a project, how to use topology. You already have existing topologies. If you see, if you notice some of the API services and stuff, you already have existing topology. Most of them doesn't have routes because they are internal services, so you don't really need to expose them to the internet, except for the console one. So when you see this console thingy, you can so over here the console thingy, right? So if you just click on it, so it has this console OpenShift console venky gcp. So this is basically has the URL. So that's the URL we are in, right? You notice that console OpenShift console, that's where we are in. So topologies are like basically once you have created an application on OpenShift, you just want to see how actually it reacts to see the endpoints. You can then come to topology and view those endpoints. At the same time, you can also deploy applications from endpoints itself, wherein, wherein which you can define a whole set of things to your application. Thank you again for watching this video. If you have any question, leave it on the comment section. I'll see you in the next one.